Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Today, we have a very interesting and inspiring story about a boy who was known for being lazy, but in the end, he surprised everyone with his clever mind. By the end of this story, you'll see how even lazy people can overcome their habits, work hard, and achieve great things. And as we listen, we'll also learn some new English words and how to use them naturally in sentences. So stay with me to the very end, listen carefully, and let's enjoy learning English through this beautiful story together. Once upon a time, in a quiet little village surrounded by green fields and tall trees, there lived a young boy named Ryan. He stayed with his parents in a small wooden house near the edge of the village. Ryan was a kind boy, but everyone knew one thing about him. He was lazy. Every morning, his father went out to work in the rice fields, and Ryan would follow him. His only job was to chase away the birds that came to eat their crops. Most people used sticks or slingshots to scare the birds away, but Ryan didn't like to move much. Instead, he came up with a clever idea. He placed wooden poles around the field and tied ropes between them. By pulling the ropes while lying down, he could make noise and scare the birds without even standing up. Ryan's father sometimes shook his head and said, "My son always finds the easiest way to do things. I just hope he learns to work harder one day." Still, Ryan always finished his job, so his father didn't scold him much. That year, the summer was very dry. The rain didn't come, and the fields began to crack under the sun. Ryan's father fell sick and could no longer work. For the first time, the responsibility of caring for the fields was on Ryan's shoulders. He tried to water the plants and look after the crops, but it was much harder than he expected. He had never worked long hours before, and his body grew tired quickly. After a few weeks, the rice began to wither and turn brown. Ryan sat outside one night, looking up at the stars. His heart felt heavy. He whispered, "If only I had worked harder before. Now it's too late. How will I save my family?" The next morning, the village square was full of noise and excitement. A soldier had arrived from the king's palace with a big announcement. He shouted, "Hear ye, hear ye! The king is holding a great competition. The winner will receive a chest full of gold coins." Ryan's eyes lit up. Gold could save his family and help his father get medicine. Without thinking too much, he said, "I'll go. I'll take part in the competition." The villagers laughed. "You, the laziest boy in town? You can't even carry a bucket of water." But Ryan didn't care. He had found his reason, his purpose. For the first time, he truly wanted to work hard. Ryan packed a small bag and said goodbye to his parents. His mother smiled softly and said, "We don't know if you'll win, son, but we're proud that you're trying." It took Ryan 3 long days to walk to the palace. Along the way, he met travelers, crossed rivers, and slept under the stars. For a lazy boy, even the journey itself was a lesson in patience and endurance. When Ryan reached the palace, hundreds of people had gathered near a big, sparkling lake. Strong men and women from across the kingdom stood ready. The royal officer stepped forward and announced, "Your first task is to cross this lake. The first 3 people to reach the other side will move to the next round." The crowd shouted with excitement. When the race began, everyone jumped into the water and started swimming as fast as they could. But Ryan didn't move. He looked at the lake and thought, "I'll never win if I just swim like everyone else. I need to think differently." He turned around and ran into a nearby forest. There, he found some fallen branches and vines. Using his small knife, he quickly built a raft and used a flat piece of wood as a paddle. He smiled to himself and said, "The challenge is to cross the lake, not to swim across it. I may not be strong, but I can be smart. While others grew tired in the water, Ryan paddled calmly across the lake. Slowly but steadily, he passed many swimmers. When he finally reached the shore, he was the third person to arrive. The crowd was shocked. "That lazy boy made it," someone whispered. Ryan smiled quietly. He knew he was getting closer to his goal. The next day, only 3 contestants remained: 2 strong men and Ryan. The king himself came to watch the final challenge. A guard rolled out 3 huge wooden blocks and said, "Your task is to move this block 1 kilometer to the finish line. Behind you, you will find many tools, but you can only choose 1. The first man quickly grabbed a rope and began pulling his block with all his strength. The second man picked up a wooden lever to push his block more easily. Ryan, however, didn't rush. He walked around the tools, thinking carefully. He finally picked up a small knife. The crowd laughed again. "A knife? What will he do with that? Carve his way to victory?" Ryan smiled and began to cut and shape his wooden block. He carved it slowly, turning the rough square shape into something round, a large wooden wheel. When he finished, he placed his hands on it and started rolling it forward. The other 2 men were still struggling to drag their heavy blocks, but Ryan's ball rolled easily down the road. He pushed with all his strength, sweat running down his face, but he didn't stop. In the end, Ryan crossed the finish line first. The crowd erupted in cheers. "The lazy boy won! The lazy boy is the champion!" The king laughed and said, "You may be lazy, but your mind is sharp. Today, you have shown that intelligence is also a kind of strength." He gave Ryan the chest of gold and declared him the winner. Ryan returned to his village as a hero. His father's health improved, and their family never went hungry again. But more than money, Ryan had gained something greater: a new way of thinking. He realized that laziness can be defeated by purpose. When you find a reason that truly matters, your family, your dream, your goal, you'll find the strength to work hard and be creative. Now, let's review some of the new words we learned in this story. Lazy means unwilling to work or move much. For example, don't be lazy. Success needs effort. Clever means quick to think and find smart solutions. For example, Ryan was clever enough to use his brain instead of his muscles. Competition means an event where people try to win something. For example, the king held a competition for the whole kingdom. Responsibility means something you must take care of. For example, when his father got sick, Ryan had to take responsibility for the field. Motivation means a reason that makes you want to do something. For example, his love for his family became Ryan's motivation to work hard. So, what can we learn from Ryan's story? Sometimes people seem lazy, but maybe they just haven't found their why. When you truly care about something, your energy and creativity wake up. Ryan's journey teaches us that smart thinking can win over hard labor, but only when driven by a strong purpose. If you ever feel lazy, remember Ryan. Find your reason. Work smarter, not just harder. And always believe that even small steps taken with determination can lead you to great success. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and practice your English every day. I'll see you again in the next lesson. Until then, keep learning, keep smiling, and keep growing.